So it's really an honor and a pleasure for me to be with you here today. I sometimes think that the fact that those kids are there and learning and singing and being in a safe space, it's a miracle. But then when I think further, I realize, miracles are something you can't explain, but this you can explain, and it's a bit what Gregory said. It's the staff, Rico and the teachers and the staff and the students and their families and everybody connected to the school in Haiti and outside Haiti that are the reasons why it's still going and still going quite strong. But as also as Gregory said, the situation is as grave as I've ever seen it. I've been working in and on Haiti for 30 years, a little more than 30 years, and I know people who are old enough to remember the Duvalier dictatorship, both father and son, Francois and Jean-Claude Duvalier, and they tell me it's worse now. It's much worse than it was even in compared to those dark days. I'm as part of my mandate, human rights is quite a broad field, as you can imagine, but one of my top priorities is the right to education and the right to health care, and especially more broadly, children's rights in general, but especially those two. And I have to say, both those rights are at grave, grave risk in Haiti right now. A couple of facts, I don't want to lose, you all know the statistics, I'm going to spend a lot of time, but there are more than 1 million children in Haiti living in gang-controlled areas where, unlike the Andrew Green School, the schools are closed. It's too dangerous for the children to go out and try to attend their schools and get home. The other element that's very much affecting the right to education, especially in the greater Port-au-Prince area, is the surge in the number of internally displaced persons. That means people have been forced to flee their homes, in this case because of the violence, the gang violence. So you have children who've been uprooted and they're no longer in their homes and they're somewhere else. And usually somewhere else is pretty terrible. You can't really call them camps. They're more like sites. And in some cases, they have had to occupy schools because schools in Haiti and elsewhere offer a modicum of some type of security. There's usually a wall, there's a gate with a door. There's often, you can get inside the classrooms, there can be even running water or toilets. So in many cases, the internally displaced have gone into schools, but that means, and I understand that, but that means those schools can no longer be schools. They're now IDP sites. And I visited a couple of those sites when I was last in Haiti in September, and they're pretty awful, to put it mildly. There are very little services, very little support that the people there are receiving. And I remember I was talking to one 4-year-old girl in one place, and she said that she hadn't eaten in 2 days. And I talked to an older girl, and this is really, I think, telling for all of us here today. She was about 12 years old, and she had not gone to school for 2 years because she had been displaced, forced to flee her home, and was now living in another area and had no connection to the area, was not able to attend school. And that's a real tragedy. And as you heard in that song, these are the chosen, the future. These are Haiti's hope and future, these children. And unfortunately, many, 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 their futures are at risk. The other fact that's quite shocking, and it's a real challenge moving forward, is that many members of the gangs are children. UNICEF's study came out a couple months ago, and I think it might be a little low, but they estimate that 40 to 50% of gang members are minors, young boys and sometimes girls. And they joined for all kinds of reasons. I was able to interview 3 young boys who had been able to escape a gang. And I asked them why they had joined, and they said they had absolutely no choice. They had nothing else in their neighborhoods. There were no jobs, there was no training, there was no chance to go to school. And one of them said something I'll never forget. He said, when you're afraid, when you are hungry, you don't think about fear. And so they get a hot meal a day joining a gang, they get a gun, they get a couple of dollars every other week or so, and that by far is the best thing on offer for them. Others are literally forced to join under threat of violence, that they'll be killed if they don't join, or their sister will be raped if they don't join. So it's going to be a major challenge when that day comes, and I hope it comes soon, that the gangs are more or less brought under control, dismantled. But what to do with fair number, several thousands of children who have been in this horrible environment, have committed, in some cases, very terrible crimes, have seen or witnessed terrible crimes. How do we try to rehabilitate them and get them back so that they have a life? Um, the amount of sexual violence, I also have to say, is off the charts in Haiti now, especially in these IDP sites, the internally displaced person sites, but everywhere. And the gangs use sexual violence as a method of control and terror and power, is typical with sexual violence. But the impact this is having, the trauma, not only on the survivors themselves, but on their families and friends, again, it's affecting millions of people in Haiti. Um, want to don't want to take too much time, but a couple more points, if you'll bear with me, is that why are there gangs? The gangs exist because there has been a systematic lack of opportunity for young people, especially in the poorer parts of Port-au-Prince and also elsewhere in the country. Um, that has to be addressed, even if there's some way to get some kind of kinetic control over the gangs, unless there's a massive effort to expand the opportunity for schools to be educated, to have job training, to have access to clean water and adequate food and shelter, um, and healthcare in general. The gangs will pop up again. This is obviously a bigger issue. It will require lots of money, lots of effort, lots of dedication, but I think it can be done. When you see children like the ones at the Andrew Green School, I used to say I'm half joking. I'm not even half joking anymore. I would love to put them in charge of the country right now. I think they could lead to a much more enlightened, progressive, and fair Haiti. But they will take over the country at some point. I just wish it were sooner rather than later. 2 points of action for all of us. People often ask, what can we do? What can I do to help Haiti? One thing for sure, for anyone in the United States listening to this video or Zoom or anywhere else, actually, is there's an arms embargo on Haiti. The United Nations Security Council has called for an international arms embargo on Haiti. There's not a single gun or bullet manufactured in Haiti. So where are the gangs getting their weapons? Overwhelmingly from the United States, mostly from the state of Florida, some of it directly to Haiti, some of it comes through the Dominican Republic. But that arms embargo has to be enforced. And I've been pushing for this. I will continue to push. I don't know what this new administration will be on this issue. The Biden administration, I have to say, was disappointing, but they did start to make some small steps, but they could be doing much, much more to stop this really plague of weapons and ammunition flowing into the country. And the second point is to urge your governments to stop forced deportations of Haitians now to Haiti. Here, the biggest culprits are the Dominican Republic and the United States. It's unconscionable now that people would be forced to go back to Haiti, given these circumstances that are persisting and predominate, certainly in the capital area. But there are also deportations from the Bahamas, and I have to say, the Turks and Caicos, which is United Kingdom overseas dependent territory. So the UK has a role in this. They're not big numbers, but there are forced deportations from the Turks and Caicos Islands to Haiti. And that has to stop. I mean, forcing anybody to go back now in these conditions that are prevailing with the violence, the lack of food, the lack of everything, is just, I think, it's illegal, first of all, but certainly something that we can't countenance, and we need to speak out as loudly as we can. So I will just end with some of the Creole I know. I've learned this a long time ago. One of the first things I learned was Kembe fem palage, stay strong, don't give up. Those children are strong. We have to be strong and stand behind them too, and stand alongside the Andrew Green School and all the other schools that are trying to do their best in Haiti today. Thank you very much.